Hello, my name is Jason Delangelo, and the topic that I bring forth today is Prisoner's Dilemma, Game Theory. Why smart people tend to make bad decisions. As you see right here, Prisoner's Dilemma, what is it, and why people make bad decisions? It's a concept in game theory where two individuals choose to either betray or stay silent, acting in either one's self-interest or for the betterment of the team. Rational decisions do not always lead to the best overall result. And you might think, well, in what way is this relevant to business? Price wars, organizations going against organizations. Prisoner's dilemma. When you were competing with another firm, organization, or company, you are looking for the very best interest of yourself, not the other person. Who created game theory? And what is it used for? Well, this game theory, Prisoner's Dilemma, was created in the 50s by two mathematicians by the name of Merrill and Melvin. What is game theory used for? Business pricing, negotiations, competing, and yes, you guessed it, court when the prisoner has a dilemma in his hands. Game theory is about predicting what your counterpart will do when their outcome depends on someone else's choice. I have an example for you. Two suspects are arrested for committing a crime that they did together. Once they are arrested, they are separated into separate rooms where they have no communication with one another. Someone comes to interrogate them and puts a deal in front of them. Says, if you betray your partner, I will let you walk out of here free. Or you can stay silent and let justice do its course. That same deal is offered to you now, and you either have to stay silent or betray your partner. Decisions are made separately, but consequences are together. As you can see right here, this is what I call a payoff matrix. This matrix is to show every possible outcome. When looking for the best outcome for oneself, one must look at the highest probability of having a favorable outcome. As shown on the table right here, if your partner is silent and you are silent, you both will get a year. If your partner betrays you and you are silent, you and only you will have to do 10 years. If your partner is silent but you betray him, they have to do 10 years. But if your partner betrays you and you betray your partner, you will both be doing 5 years each. And you might think to yourself, well, with the lack of communication and not knowing what my partner will do, what is the best favorable mathematic outcome? And it's simple. The dominant strategy is to confess and betray your partner. You might ask yourself, why? Well, if you betray your partner and your partner stays silent, you will walk away with 0 years. But if your partner betrays you and you also betray your partner, instead of receiving 10 years for being silent, you'll only have to do 5. Therefore, betraying your partner gives you the most favorable outcome if your accomplice stays quiet or he decides to betray you. You get the most favorable outcome on both sides. Well, you might ask yourself, well, if that's the case, then wouldn't everybody just betray themselves and choose to betray instead of be silent and not cooperate? I have something for that. What do people choose? Studies recorded by Simon Goucher in the article Prisoner's Dilemma show that people who played a game most choose their own self-interest at a 70% clip decide to betray their partner when incentives reward or have consequences of high stakes when offered money or a consequence like going to jail. One looks at themselves and looks for the very best outcome for oneself at a 70% clip during this research that they made. And you might be saying to yourself, 70%, wow, that's a lot. And that is true, but one must understand that you are looking for the best outcome for yourself and not caring about what others have to say. I have planted a choice tree right here. Prisoner A has two options, confess or deny. But you might see that two more stems were created after they have that decision to make. And you might ask yourself, why? Well, this just doesn't rely on you. If you confess, now it's prisoner B's time to either confess or deny. But if you deny, it is still time for him to confess or deny. So one must know that there are 4 possible outcomes, even though you have 2 choices. You might ask yourself, well, if 70% of people are betraying themselves, why does this happen? Fear of being betrayed, number 1. Self-interest, lack of trust, and lack of communication is a big one. Betraying is the safest option, no matter what the other person does, as previously shown in the Matrix 1. The key takeaways from this: people don't always make the best group decisions. Lack of trust leads to worse outcomes, and this happens a lot in business, politics, and everyday life. In conclusion, prisoner's dilemma. Smart people still make bad group decisions. Why? Fear, lack of trust, no communication, and non-rational decision making. Like previously stated, this happens in business, economics, relationships, and everyday life. Cooperation is powerful, but risky. At the end of the day, 70% of the population will look at their best interest, even if that is at the detriment of their partner. With that being said, I hope this was informational and helpful to you as I was describing and explaining Prisoner's Dilemma. My name is Jason DeLangelo, and I thank you for your time.